was waiting. So, okay, we heard that. Oh, so thank you, Shola, for that tip. Uh, I just want to begin by saying good to see all of you are safe, doing well. And I just want to wish you to stay safe and get vaccinated eventually whenever you can. Victoria already gave my introduction. What else should I add? I'll just say this before even getting into certifications and all that, right? In the hindsight, I realized that I have always been an agilist, always about continuous improvement, and I'm sure same is true for many one of you, right? You don't need a certification to be an agilist. So good to be here, and thank you, Agile Minds, for this opportunity. So without much delay, I'll share my screen and get started. We'll be talking about SAFE, the 4 core values, the 7 competencies at a very high level. Obviously, we have limited time. I'll try to wrap it up by 8:30 and reserving last 15 minutes for any Q&A. What else we'll be covering? Yeah, so we'll briefly also talk about PI planning. So let me share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just shifting here to the active speaker mode. Okay, so I'm assuming all of you are aware of SAFe, but if you're not, I'll just say this, when this concept of Agile started or Scrum started, that was a great innovative way of developing the software. But eventually what the bigger organizations, not the startups, maybe the Scrum one team concept can work for smaller organizations or startups, but for bigger organizations such as GE, Discover, Pfizer, Blue Cross, they are very complex. They are pretty big. There are so many people, and one team has dependency on the other team. And what I think we realized was that even though every sprint had their sprint plan, they had their sprint goals, but somehow they were not able to meet it. Why? Because they cannot do everything on their own, and they needed the support of other teams. So, so that is where the gap was, and that's where Scaled Agile framework was introduced in 2012, and it has been popular, one of the most popular Scaled Agile frameworks in the history. There are others as well, whether it is less Scrum at scale. There is nothing good or bad about any framework, and I'm a framework agnostic person. I would tell the same thing to you, that try to understand every framework and see what are the good elements that you can apply to your own work, to your own organization, right? So that is how SAFe came into the picture. And if you look at this, I'm on the SAFe website, right? And this is called SAFe Big Picture. SAFe has multiple configurations, which you can see: full SAFe, portfolio, large solution, essential. We'll focus mainly on essential, but I'm just mentioning it for your awareness that this is the SAFe framework in nutshell, right? And all these links here are clickable. You can see we have core values, we have lean agile mindset, we have SAFe principles and competencies over here. You start with the lean agile leadership, continuous learning culture, team and technical agility, and I'll speak about it, but just giving you an overview of this picture so that you don't feel overwhelmed. Even though this picture may seem overwhelmed to you, but spend some time and I think you will be able to understand it. Another thing I wanted to point out here is essential configuration. If you focus on this part, if I click on essential, this is just an essential view. The bare minimum that you can do for SAFe, then you have large solution, then you have portfolio. So like this, there are different levels, and then there is full SAFe. So, and I'm going to talk about the core values and the competencies, right? So I'll take a pause there in case there is any question so far for what I have said. I like to make this session engaging. I just don't want to talk. So, and if your question is going to get answered, I'll say, let's wait for the parking lot. Is there any question from anyone so far?
Miss Rosie? It's like they tapped it from my view.
Okay. Your mouse is not moving on the on my phone. I don't know if it's my network or it's the case for everyone else. Your mouse is not moving on the screen.
Uh, I'm just moving my mouse right now. Can somebody confirm? Is it moving for you?
No.
Oh,
Frozen.
oh, you know what?
No.
Yeah, thank you. Got it, got it.
There it
Is it
is.
now moving?
Yes.
Thanks for that feedback. I think I clicked on pause share by mistake. So thank you for calling that out. Got it. Okay. So the core values of SAFE, right? Does anybody know what are the core SAFE values before I share? Maybe some of you are already aware of it. Let's hear from you.
Alignment.
I'll give you a thumbs up if it is correct. Absolutely.
Transparency.
Correct. What else? Without going to the SAFE website, let's see if you can make a guess or if you remember.
Program execution.
Thank you. Element. Okay, one more. What is the most important thing when we are building the products? Something that cannot be ignored.
Quality.
I heard it. You can say it loudly.
Quality.
Yes, built-in quality. So you have alignment, built-in quality, transparency, program execution. And if you think about it, to me, it sounds like it's obvious. Isn't it obvious? That is why we are doing Agile at a team level or at a scale level. That's all we want, right? So SAFE, whatever principles we have, whatever competencies we have, whatever ceremonies we have, they all are built on these four core values. Even if we do PI planning, which you can relate with program execution, it is all about transparency. So are all of us clear about the core values? Do you have a question about a core value, or will you guys like to share any example from your own work life or from your own experience where you experience these core values? Will anyone like to share any example? Okay, that's fine. So, right, when you have a board at a team level, or when you have a board, program board, we are creating transparency, right? When we are doing testing, as we are doing development, or when we are talking about TDD, test-driven development, we are trying to increase the quality of our work product because we want least number of defects possible. We don't want our customers to find it. Alignment. When one team or team of teams, which we call Agile Release Train, is coming together to plan, everybody knows this is a vision. This is where we are moving towards. That's alignment, right? And then we continue to execute it on a cadence, which you see here. There is a PI, 5 sprints, right? So that is program execution. Agile Release Train, which is nothing but a team of teams. You can think of it as 10 teams or 12 teams that are working on the same product or part of the same value stream, coming together at a fixed cadence, which we call PI, and they plan their work together for the next 5 sprints. They go over the dependencies, risks, and they are in this together. That is why it is called a train, right? They are not operating in silo, so that we can achieve our common objective of fulfilling whatever we determined during the PI plan. So everything can be tied back to these 4 values that I just shared with you. Actually, that you guys shared with me. I didn't share it with you. You already know it. So thank you for sharing. Next is principles. If you see here, there are 9 principles. So all of these are listed here. Maybe again, some of you are already aware of it. So the first one is take an economic view. But just to make this session engaging, rather than me telling you, I would ask you, what is your understanding of this principle? So let's hear it from you. And I'll request you to participate. I think that is a better way of learning than just me talking. So will anyone like to share what do you mean by take an economic view? No response. You can make a guess. It's okay. There is nothing wrong or right.
I guess this is keeping budget in mind.
Okay. Right. Fair enough. I think we'll just hear one answer from everyone and then I'll go over it. Okay. Yeah, take an economic view. Can you please be on mute if you're not speaking? I'm getting some background noise. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, take an economic view is when you are building something, right? When you're building a product, you don't want the cost of that product to be more than the value it is going to generate for you, right? You want the cost to be less than the value. If let's say the cost to build a product is $1 million and it is going to generate a value worth $100,000 for you, do you think it is worth spending a time? What is your take? Right? So we always need to take an economic view either at the epic level or at the feature level or at the user story level. Apply system thinking. Who would like to share with me what is systems thinking or your understanding of systems thinking? Okay.
Correct design principles.
Correct design principles. Okay.
Our holistic view of your whole architecture.
That's a good, I really like the word holistic here. That is a key word here. It is not just about the architecture. It is not just about the processes. It is not just about one team. I think the important word we heard from Suhas is holistic view. If there is a problem in one team, are we trying to identify that problem or look at it from a system thinking perspective? Because maybe that's a common problem for all the teams. And if it is a common problem, we are not going to gain anything by solving it for one team. Probably we need to solve it at a bigger system level. So taking the whole system into account, system is not a software system. It could be the group of people who are involved. It could be all the processes. It could be our end-to-end architecture. It could be our infrastructure. So system thinking means thinking big, having a bird's eye view. What's happening here? So that you can identify those problems. And if you solve it, you will be solving it for multiple teams, right? So there is a bigger impact. We need to have that view into account. Next one is assume variability, preserve options. Who would like to share with me what it means? I'll wait for 5 seconds before I share my own inputs. Okay, there are no inputs, so I'll go ahead. As it suggests, right, what it means is when software development is complex. If it was straightforward, waterfall would have worked for us. We would have had a requirement documentation, we did coding, we did testing, no bugs found, UAT, awesome, right? But we all know software development is complex. And that is why when we begin doing our work, requirements evolve, user stories evolve, design evolves, user feedback evolves. So we have to always keep in mind that there is going to be a variation. We cannot get stuck on one particular requirement or one particular design. It is going to evolve. So assume variability, but preserve options. What it means is when you started working on something, maybe you had 6 options. So keep that. But as you continue to work further, those 6 options became 5, 5 became 4, 4 became 3, 3 became 2, 2 became 1. So we start with higher number of options, there are variables, and then we agree upon the shortest possible or the best option that's here. So assume variability and preserve options, whether it is design or anything else. 4th principle, build incrementally with fast integrated learning cycles. I think everyone should be aware of it. So let's hear what do you think it means?
So there is this concept called build fast, fail fast. So the more or the shorter iterations you have in building any of your product, the more feedback you get, and wherein you can actually rebuild it again if there is any problem, or if there's not, then continue.
Correct. Thank you. Thank you, Suhas. And I think that is what we all are doing even at a team level. When you have a sprint, whether it is a 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week, the maximum prescribed in the Scrum